Hello everybody, it is TruthHertz here. I am a UK based variety streamer currently streaming on the platform Twitch and also one of the founding members of a movement called The Resonant, a collaboration between four very real life friends. We've got myself, we've got Oxy Willis, we've got Morris Sly and we've got B Morris Sly. We all aim to bring different facets to the movement through different aspects of content creation, different games, different types of content, but ultimately at the root of it all is a community that is all about positive energy and encouraging the best out of one another. This lockdown that we've all found ourselves in over the last 12 to 18 months has been a very, very difficult and dark time, but Twitch has enabled people to form connections and remain social, because at the heart of it all, we're social creatures. So what we're trying to do with this community, with this resonant movement, is just leverage that platform to, let's say, encourage social interaction, encourage positivity, and meet new people. In my 5 months on Twitch, I, without a doubt, have made some lifelong friends, and I cannot wait for that growth to continue, for that journey to continue. Thank you for stumbling across the channel. If you like what you see, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we will carry on resonating together very, very soon. All the best. TruthHertz out. Hello and welcome everybody, it is TruthHertz here. I am a UK based variety streamer, currently streaming on the platform Twitch, and what I'm looking to do today is introduce you all to a game that I'm absolutely in love with at the moment, and that is Escape from Tarkov, the military survival sim from Battlestate Games. We're going to be doing that by kickstarting TruthHertz Tarkov tutorials today, with episode 1, which will literally just be an introduction to the menus, menu navigation, and also the, as far as I'm concerned, optimal keybinds. So without further ado, let's get this tutorial started. Welcome everybody to this inaugural Tarkov tutorial. So today's focus will just be a quick overview of the main menu, the sub-menus, and the keybinds that I used personally when learning this brutal, deep, but incredibly rewarding first-person military sim survival game from Battlestate Games. So the first thing here is the main menu that we're going to be looking at today, where you've got numerous sub-menus to work your way through. So the first one here is Escape from Tarkov. This is where you go to commence a raid as a scav or your main PMC character. After that, we've got Character. Character is where you will go to manage your PMC character's inventory, stash, health, skills, statistics, and tasks. I'll give you a quick overview. That is all available from the tabs at the top of the screen. Regarding stash management and inventory management, we'll be covering that in a future tutorial. Next up, we've got Trading. Trading is a submenu where you can access all of the in-game vendors along with access to the flea market and also any live auctions that you've got ongoing at the moment. You've got a number of different dealers, each sell a different range of items and goods. Praper, for example, sells a range of ammunition and weapon attachments, whereas Therapist sells a range of medical items. Each of the others, again, have different varieties of weapons, attachments and clothing, etc. that are available to purchase from them. After this, you've got the Hideout menu. The Hideout is essentially an in-game mini-base that you can upgrade throughout the season before the next wipe. This brings with it a whole host of passive bonuses, including things like faster recovery between raids, the scav timer reductions, and even crafting and money generation options, including Bitcoin farms. In addition to these menu options here, you've also got a range of tabs along the bottom of the screen, including a quick access to your hideout, your character screen, the dealers, the flea market, which again is an area where you can sell other goods between players, presets, which is a menu that allows you to build custom weapon loadouts and then craft them with attachments much quicker than buying them separately from the flea market. You've got your handbook, which is essentially an in-game guide. The messenger, which is where you can collect items from insurance. Again, another feature that we're going to be looking at a little bit later on in a future tutorial, but also global chat and your friends list. And then finally, the other two that you've got at the bottom here are our watch list, which is currently unavailable in beta, and then your settings, which is where the main focus of today's Tarkov tutorial will be. Here within settings, you can manually customize your preferred keybinds, which again is going to be today's focus. You can look here at the top of the controls menu. You've got an action column, a key 1 column, a key 2 column, and a press type column. Firstly, you need to take note of these. Essentially, the action will tell you what the keybind will do. Then you can assign 1 or 2 keybinds to that, and then the press type allows you to select the type of press that you want to use for that particular keybind. For example, aiming is set to right mouse button and continuous. What that means is I have to hold down the right mouse button in order to aim down sights. If I set it to something like press, it would toggle it on and off. So the first keybind mechanics that we're going to be looking at today focus around basic movement. So like with any first-person shooter or any kind of platforming game, action game on PC, we're going to use the standard WASD for moving forward, backwards, left and right. Next up from there, you've got a feature called lean left and lean right. E and Q will be the buttons that we've assigned for this. That essentially allows your character to peek out from cover quickly. By holding the button down, letting go of it, they'll return to their normal standing stance. Let's say this is a very, very important mechanic to grasp early on, and we're going to focus on just the normal lean for now, because smooth lean left and lean right are a little bit more advanced. They do have benefits, but it's too much to think about early on. Essentially, the main difference is it's a much slower lean, and it's a permanent lean as well, so wherever you stop it, your character will sort of remain leaned in that position until you decide to reset it. Next up are fire and aim. Standard, again, for most first-person shooters, with fire being the left mouse button and aim being the right mouse button. After that, we've got switch scopes. So switch scopes here is for any kind of 2-in-1 scope that you may have, i.e. a Bravo 4 within the game, which is a very, very commonly equipped and used scope, especially sort of this far into a wipe. So essentially what that is a 4x scope with a red dot sight attached to the top of it. What this button will do is allow you to toggle between the red dot sight for close-up engagements and the 4x scope for ranged engagements. We've got G here set up for change scope magnification. Now this is for more of your classic sniper rifle zoom scope. This will alternate, for example, between a 1x and a 4x zoom on a 1 to 4x zoom scope. If you had like a 1 to 24 times, again, G will be the button that I've got set up to switch between the 1x magnification and the 24x magnification. Next up, we've got the free look feature. The free look feature here I've assigned to B just so that it's within easy reach, but it's not a button that you're going to be using super frequently. Essentially what this enables you to do is to look left and right whilst maintaining the same direction of travel, i.e. if you're sprinting forwards, it'll enable you to look left and right to scan the horizon or the nearby surroundings. In addition to this, it will also enable you to look left and right while stationary without your character physically turning around. Now the issue with physically turning around is it does generate noise, which can be absolutely critical in Escape from Tarkov, as it can give away your position. So the less noise you can make, the better, and free look enables you to do that. Next up, we've got toggle night vision. Toggle night vision is assigned to the cap locks button. So this, as the name implies, will enable you to turn off or on your night vision goggles by essentially flicking them down from your helmet onto your face and off. It will also cover items like visors on any armored helmets as well. So again, a very, very useful feature, especially if you've got access to that level of armor, because a visor can make such a huge difference in a raid by protecting your face from things like ricochets and lower tier ammunition. Mumble and the mumble drop down and mumble quick phrases are kind of flavor based features within the game. It will cause your character to speak aloud. This, like I say, is more for flavor, but it can actually be useful in engagements as well, as it means to distract opponents or to draw them into you for an ambush, for example. So high level players will quite often use the in-game talking features. I myself don't use them a great deal yet because I'm still learning a lot of the game. However, if it's something you want to try and do early on, by all means do it. It can be a very, very powerful tool. Here, we've got check time, compass, check time, and exits. The one that we're going to focus on first is check time and exits. Notice they're both assigned to O. However, one is assigned to just press, whereas the other one is assigned to double click. Now, the one that I would say you're going to want to use the most, especially early on in your Escape from Tarkov career, is check time and exits, because it's very important to know how long is left in a raid, but also where you need to go to extract, and that is what the double tap of O will do for you on this occasion. Once you're more familiar with a map and you know where the extracts are, then all you really need to do is check the time remaining, which will just be a single press of O. U here will allow you to pull out your compass. If you've got access to one, you will get access to one fairly early on in the game if you follow the quest lines for Praper. They're very, very useful tools for helping to orientate yourself around a map. Next up will be Toggle Tactical Device, which we've assigned to the keybind T. Toggle Tactical Device will essentially turn off any tactical device you've got equipped, so that will either turn a flashlight on and off that might be attached to your weapon, a laser designator on or off that might be attached to your weapon, or if you've got a combination tactical device, if you've got it set to have both on at the same time, then again this will turn them on and off. Switch Tactical Device, as the name implies, will enable you to alternate between the modes of a particular tactical device. Now, this is useful for any 2-in-1s that you may have, i.e. a tactical device with a flashlight and a laser. A press of V will alternate between just the flashlight or just the laser, or the two together. Next in previous, with the mouse scrolls plus and minus, are advanced mechanics that I personally don't use. I'm not too sure what they do yet either. However, who knows, in the future I may start using them if I decide that they are useful keybinds. But for the time being, it's not something you need to concern yourself with. If anything, it'll just add additional confusion to an already deep and confusing game at times, so I would avoid them most of the time. Interact is assigned to F. Pretty standard button again for most games on keyboard and mouse. This will enable you to open doors or pick items up. Throw grenade. This is a very, very important keybind. I've assigned it to mouse wheel down just so that it's quick and easy to access. Grenades are so powerful in Escape from Tarkov, so the moment you've got access to them, use them. Master how to use them as well, because they can make such a big difference in an engagement, either through killing, maiming, or just flushing opponents out. So always remember which button you've assigned throw grenade to, and use it frequently if you can. Reload, we've got two options for reload, both assigned to R. One is a double click, one is just press it once and release it. Reload weapon, one press will remove a magazine from your weapon and replace it with one from your tactical rig, but that magazine, as long as you've got free space in your tactical rig, will go into your tactical rig. You won't lose it. Quick load, reload, will physically drop the existing magazine in the gun on the floor and replace it with one from your tactical rig. Much quicker, useful in close quarters engagements, so always remember that, especially if you know that the existing magazine is almost empty. Magazines aren't really that worth holding on to unless it's a high capacity mag, so if it's like a 30 round one, it's not the end of the world if you drop it on the floor and don't remember where you put it. So always remember the quick weapon reload, especially in close quarters engagements. Likewise, a double press of Z will enable you to drop your backpack. Again, another useful feature in close quarters engagements. It enables you to move much quicker, and it also provides you with an opportunity to hide your backpack, perhaps in a bush, for example, before an engagement. The trick there is, if that backpack is insured and an opposing player doesn't find it and extract with it, you will get that back at some point on the insurance as well. So it's very much possible to commit insurance fraud in Escape from Tarkov as well. Next up, we've got Next Magazine and Previous Magazine. These are advanced mechanics. I, again, don't use them myself, but I'm pretty sure that, once you've mastered them, they do offer some degree of marginal gains that can make the difference between high-tier players and kind of like competent players. But for me, personally, and for the sake of this video at the moment, we will not be covering them. Check ammo. Very important keybind, this one. I've assigned it to / just so that it's within the vicinity of my movement keybinds. Escape from Tarkov is a really brutal, hardcore military sim, and the HUD is very limited, so it doesn't actually have an ammo counter like you might see on an arcadey first-person shooter like Call of Duty. So always remember the keybind you assign check ammo to. A press of this will remove the magazine from the gun. Your character will look inside the magazine, and it will give you an indicator in the bottom right-hand corner with regards to how much ammo is left in it, and it'll either be full, nearly full, half full, nearly empty, or empty. So always make sure you're checking it, especially before an engagement, to make sure that your magazine is as packed as it possibly can be. X is our next keybind. X alternates between semi-auto, burst fire, or full auto for any weapons that may have them. Another very important feature. Personally, I find if I've got a fully automatic weapon, I will leave it on full auto and just get used to tapping with it if I want to use single fire, because it's so important to be able to just spray quickly if you're getting into close quarters engagements. So if you've got a full auto weapon, I can't stress this enough, please try to keep it on full auto and just get used to tapping if you want to just fire off the odd shot here and there. The check fire mode, check chamber, unload chamber, and detach magazine. These are, again, advanced mechanics. We're not going to be covering those in today's tutorial, so we'll move on to some of the remaining movement mechanics. So prone, very, very important one here. We've set this to C, just so that it's all, again, in close vicinity to one another. Essentially make your character lie down. Sprint, a classic, we've assigned to left shift. Sprinting is very, very noisy in the game. However, it is useful to duck in and out of engagements, especially if you're trying to run away from an opposing sniper, for example. If you're hunting someone down or trying to ambush someone that you know is, for example, is hiding in a building, I would suggest walking and making as little noise as possible. However, if you're trying to duck out of an engagement, or if you want to third party somebody, then obviously sprinting is a very, very useful tool. Next up, we've got duck. I've personally assigned duck to my remaining mouse button. This is just so that it's quick and easy for me to duck in and out of cover. Again, very, very important in Escape from Tarkov, where one bullet is enough to just wipe you out. Next, walk pose and previous. Walk pose are advanced mechanics again. These essentially adjust how tall your character makes himself from standing upright down to a more hunched position. I don't use them myself yet. However, it is something that I'm looking to add to my gameplay because, again, it's marginal gains. It can make the difference between a good player and a competent player. But for today's video, we won't be going into detail beyond this. However, you want to try and use them yourself, feel free to do so. Walking. Walking is a very, very important movement mechanic in Escape from Tarkov. Quite often, as we said earlier, noise is a deal breaker in Escape from Tarkov. It literally can make the difference between surviving a raid or getting your ass handed to you and getting killed by scavs or opposing PMCs. Next up, we're going to look at overhead blind fire, right side blind fire, sidestep right, sidestep left. Advanced movement mechanics, not actually going to cover those today. Examine weapon is assigned to the keybind L, and fold stock is assigned to L plus left O. That essentially allows you to save space in your inventory by folding the stock of a weapon in, meaning it takes up normally 2 less inventory spaces. L, let's say once again, is just a flavor feature. It allows you to examine the features of a gun to see the sort of level of detail that the developers have put into them, because it's a military sim at heart, Escape from Tarkov, and you can see that in the way the developers have crafted the weapons in the game. Next up is tab. Tab will allow you to open and close your inventory within the game. That will allow you access to your meds, food supplies, and water supplies. Jump is space, pretty standard mechanic. Knife, I haven't even set it to a keybind. It's an utterly pointless feature within the game. Melee weapons are useless because the ballistic system in Escape from Tarkov is so realistic, it's so brutal, that you won't want to use anything else other than a firearm. However, if you must use a melee weapon of some description, then you can draw one that you've got equipped using the V button, and then you will just hit opposing players using the left mouse button. Weapons are equipped using the numbers 1, 2, and 3. This will give you access to your secondary weapon and then your 2 primary weapons if you've got them. Normally you will enter a raid with just 1 weapon to begin with, and a second weapon will just come from picking it up from either a scav or a dead PMC operator if you're lucky. The remaining numbers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 are all assignable hotkeys that you can assign to equipment in your tactical rig or in your pockets, such as medical supplies, food, or water. It just gives you quick access to them, so rather than having to manage the inventory by using tab and then right-clicking the items, you can just press the hotkey and your character will immediately use those items. Scope elevation up and scope adjust down are features for use with long-range sniper rifles, so it's mainly to account for things like bullet drop. So if you've got a long-distance shot that you're lining up, you would want to adjust the scope up or down according to the bullet drop. Screenshot, print screen, discard, delete, hold breath, left alt. Pretty standard features again. Left alt will allow you to steady the aim of your weapon if you're lining up a long-distance shot with one of your rifles. Icons toggle and console features I'm not too sure about, if I'm being honest, so I won't try and blag my way through these. If you want to use them, try them. However, I wouldn't be able to tell you what they're actually any good for or not. And lastly, we've got the mouse sensitivity for just regular movement, and then mouse sensitivity for aiming down sights. These, I would say, are down to personal preference and are pretty much hardware dependent as well, depending on the DPI settings that you use, but feel free to use the same settings that I use, 0.85, 0.76 respectively, with a DPI of 400 on my mouse. And lastly, we've got the double click timeout. What this does is essentially adds a timeout to any double presses that you do. So the game will hard code a 0.3 second delay between button presses so that you don't accidentally activate one of the keybinds. Thank you very much for watching today's Tarkov tutorial. This was the very first installment. We'll be back with installment number 2 next time, which will be the graphics, post effects and sound settings for the game. If you've enjoyed today's content, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, but also please check me out on all my other socials as well, including Twitch, TikTok, Instagram and Discord. And that concludes our first video. Thank you for watching. Remember guys, together we are resonant.